Hi, everybody. I'm D.Lisa West. I'm a dream doula.
I am Cristina. I'm a psychotherapist and relationship coach. And again, I love your title of Dream Doula. It sounds so cool.
It's so much fun because people are like, I don't dream. Ooh, let me tell you a dream. They will all, without exception, once I tell somebody that everyone dreams 2 hours every night, next time I see them, they're like, ooh, let me tell you a dream. You won't believe this dream I had.
Yeah, we all do. I think it's nice to when we wake up, how far we were from REM and all that, but we don't always remember it, but we all do.
Yeah, we all do dream, as evidenced by brain scans while people are sleeping. We go through the brain activity of dreaming. And yeah, some people remember it more than others. And just thinking about the fact that you could remember it helps you remember it.
That is true. I think
Yeah.
so, because you're putting that intention in your brain to remember it. So now you're going to make a point of it. You're not just going to let it be just
exactly. Exactly. Well, today we're going to talk about dreams, the kind you have when you're awake, a dream or a goal that you're going for, and what happens when you get it, and then suddenly you're not that happy about it. How, I guess that happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, it happens more often than we'd like to believe. But yes, I have definitely worked with clients where they got what they thought they wanted and they're not as happy as they thought they would be.
Well, that comes back to the idea that if I just had money, I'd be happy. If I just had a wife, I'd be happy. If I just had a really new car, I'd be happy, or a new job. And it's really not any of those things that we're getting.
Right.
When I help people in my coaching program, and we go through, this is how a life works. This is how our thoughts work. This is how generosity and gratitude works. This is how forgiveness works, and all the different things we talk about. As we're going forward, I say, now, is that dream still your dream? Because as we grow and expand and become more and more of who we really are, our dreams and goals and desires change, as they should.
Absolutely.
Because we're always becoming more and more who we are.
Yes.
I remember for years, maybe for 20 years, I don't know, I was like, am I ever going to get married and have kids? I want to get married. I want to have kids. I would have people read my palms and read my tarot cards and do psychic readings. And like, but the question was always, am I ever going to get married and have kids? And then I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I'm married. And oh my gosh, the day after I had my first kid, I was sitting in my house. It was a sunny summer day, and I'm holding a baby. And I'm thinking to myself, I did it. I got married and I have a baby. And I was just like, I was filled with so much joy that I had accomplished this long time goal and dream. And then the next day, that like big giant joy was kind of gone. And I'm like, oh, now what?
Now what?
Now what? I mean, I got married, I had a kid. Now what?
Now what?
And when I thought about what's next, it's kind of like that trick question that Eckhart Tolle asks people. Like, ask yourself this: what's my next thought going to be? Because if you ask yourself this, you come up with a blank. You don't know what your next thought's going to be.
Not at all.
And maybe you don't even know what your next dream is going to be.
Exactly. Not until you have it. And I also want, when I do work with clients and we talk about their goals, because I do a lot of goal work too. What is it you want? Like I always tell people, I'm like a GPS for mental health. I don't tell you where to go. You tell me what you would like, and then I help you map out the different routes to get there. So a lot of times what I ask people when they do tell me their goals and they tell me what they want, I want to get to the why of it. Because a lot of times the why of how come we want something, is more important than the thing itself. Because maybe the why is, I remember when I took child psychology and I took adolescent psychology, and the professor was saying how sometimes some of these teen pregnancies weren't always accidental, but if you have a young girl who's in maybe an emotionally abusive situation at home, part of her might be thinking, this is someone that will love me, finally.
Oh, God. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah. So, but what they don't understand is the baby requires a whole lot more to be put in before you get that back. But here's maybe this young girl who's never known real love. And she thinks this is something now that will love me, that has to love me.
Wow, that trips me out. I'm thinking about a childhood friend, and I'm sure I can talk about all these people because they've all passed on now. But my next door neighbor, childhood friend, told me when she was 16, and that was right after Roe v. Wade. So back in the day when it was suddenly okay to get an abortion, she said, I'm pregnant. And we were 16 years old in high school. And I said, well, what are you going to do? And she goes, well, I'm going to have it. And I realized much, much later that she was in an abusive situation in her home. Her father was abusing the girls in the family, and they made her get married to this guy and live in a trailer in the backyard and raise the kid for the first year and finish high school. And so her underlying concept that someone would love me, or maybe this boy would love me better than my father loves me, it was all tangled up in this crazy drama that I didn't even know about. But I could see she was not happy. And she was totally unskilled to become a mother at age 16. She later went on to have multiple other children as well. But wow, who's going to love me? Or, if you really want the new job because that new job is going to give you power, and then you get the new job, and suddenly that new job gives you power and a lot of headaches. Then you're like, this is my new job. What did I want this job for?
Yes, but you wanted it for the power because maybe you felt powerless. Maybe you felt you'd have, because now you'd be in a position, maybe you wouldn't have somebody else breathing down your neck or making you feel small. Now I have the power. So why do we want something? Are we looking for love? Are we looking for power? Now, to be sure, it's not bad to want to feel secure. It's not bad to want to feel loved, but it's how you're pursuing it. It's your desperation for it, or you're feeling that if only I got this job, or if only I have this relationship, if only this happens, I'm going to be happy. Everything's going to be wonderful and great. And life doesn't work that way. We have moments of joy. Yes. But we also have moments of stress, of difficulty, of strife. So life is about having the balance between the two and being okay with that, and having that balance of heart, body, mind, and spirit, and recognize.
I was listening to something today before we got on, and this woman who's one of my own mentors was saying, and she's a minister, so forgive me if I use the word God, you can flick it into universe or the goddess or whatever works for your understanding. But she's like, we're not waiting for God to give us what we would love.
Right.
God is waiting for us to be ready.
Yes.
So the universe will give us whatever we say we want and whatever we move toward in life. So if you say you want a new job, but you don't go looking for it or interviewing for it, you're not going to get it. If you say you want a new love, but you don't go dating, you're not going to probably get a new love. You have to take a step, and then the universe meets you where you are. And taking those steps, sometimes taking the step down the wrong path is the way that you can really realize, oh, I don't like that.
Mhm.
I thought I wanted it, but I don't. So how do you help people when they're in your practice and they've gone through lots of strife to get the thing they thought they wanted, and now they don't want it anymore?
Mhm. Well, as especially if we've been doing the work of setting the goals, I do try to do the preliminary stuff of making them really look at what is making them want this, to sort of prepare them. Like if you're thinking, I'm going to get this life is going to be fabulous, I try to, put a little reality in there. So it's not so shocking. Now, when this thing has happened and they're like, but I didn't get what I wanted, I turn back to them and say, okay, so what is different now that you have this thing you said you wanted? How is it different from what you wanted? How is it not living up to your expectation? Or were you putting more expectations on it than what you should have?
Yeah, although maybe for some people, Christina, this may or may not be true, that they just need a new thing to love and look forward to.
That
Like
is true.
that one thing is a stepping stone to the other thing that they're going to do.
Absolutely. That is an excellent point, because if we look at something and say, this is my endpoint, then we get then we're done. We lose all energy, we lose all momentum. But if you think of each thing, and there is some neuroscience basis in this, when they talk about people who will procrastinate or who get stuck, it's because they've put all their energy into the achieving of that thing. And then once they've achieved it, it's like sucked out. But if you actually put your energy into the journey, and so the steps in the journey are what you're looking forward to and what you are happy about, then you will always look forward to the next thing because it's yet another step in your journey.
Right, right. And of course, on the journey, we meet with frustrations and failures, and we can say we could call it a failure, or we could call it a learning experience.
Mm-hmm. I was listening to somebody who's doing a YouTube video, and I liked this phrase she said. She's like, because it's all how you look at it, right? If you look at it, oh, I'm cursed. This is terrible. This is horrible. If you look at it like that, you're going to immediately feel down. But she's like, if you say this phrase, isn't that interesting?
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, like you don't put
Isn't
judgment to it.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Like you're not putting judgment on it. You're not equating it good or bad. You're saying, isn't that interesting?
I'm writing that down.
I know. I just thought, that is cool. I like that. Now, granted, it does not necessarily, you're going to have some life moments that are pretty hard. And, maybe you feel a little more stressed about, but it just experiment. First of all, it doesn't cost you anything to actually put yourself in that mindset. You're still going to go through whatever it is you're going through. So I invite this experiment, dear listener. Next time, whatever it is, instead of before you put the emotional qualifier on it, oh, this is terrible, just say, isn't that interesting?
Yes, instead of judging it and calling it bad,
right?
Just say, huh, how interesting.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
And see how you feel after. How did it change you? How did it impact you? And think about that. And think about how else you show up in your life.
Now, because isn't there a Chinese curse?
Yeah.
Something about may you have an interesting life.
Exactly.
And I think the translation means may you have like a bunch of weird, bad stuff happen to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Not interesting how cool, but interesting how.
Mm-hmm. But if you actually, because if you think of life as just this experience, I mean, look, people play video games, right? They play these virtual reality things and they do all these things. or you purposely maybe might seek out roller coasters or these experiences. So why not think of your life as like, okay, I'm going to have these experiences, because there's no rule that says you can't. Stuff is still going to happen regardless of how you choose to show up. But if you choose to show up in your life in a place of interest and curiosity and just be like,
Okay, to kind of recap this, we're going in a circle here, well, like we often do. We come back to the first thing. So stuff happens. You're living your life. You got a goal. You're like, yeah, da, 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 da. Wow. I did that big thing. I captured that goal. I got that new job, or I got that new spouse, or I got that new house or car or whatever it was that you were trying for. And you're like, and now what? Because really, what you were doing was becoming a bigger, better, more expanded version of yourself while you
yes,
were getting that goal.
right.
So you can look at yourself and say, how am I, or who am I now that I
Yeah.
have this thing? That might be even more interesting and powerful to look at. The who you are being while you're getting that thing is more than the thing.
Right. Exactly. Who you are being in your pursuit of that thing is actually more meaningful in many ways than the actual thing.
Right. So you can remind the person, like when you thought this up in the beginning, you were so much less of who you are now.
Right.
You had to pull all these resources together. You had to believe in yourself. You had to let go of some limiting beliefs. And now here you are, and you got this thing. So what's the next thing?
And what's the next thing? What's the next step for you?
Right on. Because life is just a series of things that we're striving for. And either, like my friend Reverend Marilyn says, the universe says three things when you're striving for something: yes, not yet, or here's something even better.
Yes, I like that.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you. This was fun. Wait, there's no movie?
Oh, let's see. Movie. Okay. I'm thinking of, oh, I like this. Okay. I'm thinking of a Jim Belushi movie,
Okay.
Mr. Destiny, starring Jim Belushi and Linda Hamilton. So I want to say it's kind of a comedy fantasy. Basically,
Okay.
Jim Belushi plays this guy who, when he was much younger, he was on a baseball team and he missed like this amazing shot or whatever. I know I'm not an expert on baseball, sorry. But the point is, it cost them the big game. And he always regretted not getting that because he felt his life kind of took a bad turn and maybe he didn't get ahead where he was. Now he's married to a wife that loves him. He has a job, but it's just, he's a regular cog in the wheel. And he just is always wondering, could his life have been better had he made that shot? And it's interesting because in the scene you show him at work, and the boss's son-in-law who married the boss's daughter, who was a head cheerleader and all that, because he was the big man. He had done all those things. So what happens is Michael Caine plays the part. I want to say the name of the movie is Mr. Destiny.
Okay.
I think the name of it, if I remember differently, I will let you know, but I think it's Mr. Destiny and Michael Caine. I forget the year. I want to say maybe 80s, 90s, probably closer to 90s, but not 100% sure. And so Michael Caine is Mr. Destiny, and he gives them a chance to make that winning shot, which is the thing he always thought he wanted.
Okay, and then you see his life redone over from that point.
Yes, his life is totally redone. Now he's the one married to the boss's daughter. Now he's the one who has the big fancy office and is all well respected and all that, but he's not happy. At some point in his life, I'm spoiler, he's missing his old life.
Okay, cool. I'm sure, you know what? Let the listeners know how to follow your filmography online. Don't you have an Instagram account about your films or
Oh,
something?
yes, I do have an Instagram. I've seriously got to update it. You can always find me on my website, therapythroughmovies.com.
Therapythroughmovies.com.
Yes,
Okay.
therapythroughmovies.com is my website where I talk about different things and I tie it into movies. I'm always constantly updating, and I do have an Instagram account. Actually, you are the one that inspired the name. And I just want to make sure I'm saying it right, but I have to do more updating with it. So the Instagram, thank you. I'm looking it up because I want to say it's, why is this not loading?
Yeah, because I want to
Technology.
make sure I put the right thing in the show notes. Up until now, I don't think I've included your Instagram in the show notes.
Okay, definitely. And definitely you could, this is why I love the website therapythroughmovies.com, because I can remember it. So you
Okay.
always find the latest info on there, movies, classes. If you want to have a session with me, I stick everything on there.
Okay, cool.
And
And
then
then,
I
so I'll
have,
add to the show notes that website and how to get you on Instagram, because whenever, the reason I'm asking, Christina, is whenever you say, I don't know, the movie was like 1987, 1990, something like that, you are spot on. You remember who's in it. You remember the actors, you remember the story. I don't even know how you do that. I'm like, oh, have I seen that movie? So it's beautiful because I have a long list of movies that I can look at based on your suggestions in our talks together. So thank you very much for being the movie brain.
oh, you are very welcome. Thank you for liking my movie brain. I appreciate that.
It's fun. It's fun because, hey, why not? You can say, oh, there's a movie about this. And there's a movie about everything we've ever talked about.
Oh yeah, there totally is. And it's funny because I wasn't even thinking about it as we were having the conversation. And then you're like, do you have a movie? And then, yeah, this just popped into my head.
Right on. Yeah.
I joke with people all the time. I'm like, if Google didn't exist, I could make a fortune on the movie encyclopedia that is inside my brain.
100%, Christina, you certainly could. Oh my goodness. Well, like always, it's been a lovely talk. And I loved how we went full circle. Like you got a goal, you got it, you're unhappy, but wait, you're a different person than you were when you started.
Yes,
So really, there's a gift in everything we do.
absolutely 100%. I agree. And thank you again for having me. I really do enjoy our chats.
Yes, so do I. Until next time.
Till next time. Bye.